if you're going to come up with a stamp that you're going to put on products, then you cannot again tell Kenyans to pay for that particular stamp. And the expenditure on that stamp has only come because that product has been consumed. But of course, what we saw was inefficiency in management. We're talking about irregularity in award of a contract, because we've been able to establish that this particular contract, first of all, was entered into a euro, was entered into in euros. You know, why are you buying stamps in euros? In the first place. But maybe for good recourse, they have been able to negotiate a stamp that we were buying at 1.8 shillings is now we are now buying it at 1 shilling. And so even the question is, if the supplier is willing to reduce the cost at which he was selling this stamp to us from 1 shilling and 80 cents to 1 shilling, then it definitely means that 80 cents were going to someone else's pocket.
8 years ago.
And this price was 8 years ago. So if a stamp was being sold 8 years ago at 1 shilling and 80 cents, and the same supplier is willing to sell the same stamp to us now at 1 shilling, and capturing inflation and all fluctuation in exchange, it actually means that someone just entered into this contract with the sole intention of stealing public funds. And we've got the information, we've asked for more information on it, and we'll be digging into that, because the role of Parliament is oversight. We are disappointed because the information that we asked for Kenya Revenue Authority, or the exemptions were given, or the abandonment were given, we were not given that information. And we said we are not going to have this conversation without this information, because the Constitution is very clear that all the waivers and exemptions and abandonments are supposed to be done, as a first of all supposed to be done within the law, and two, are supposed to be subject to public domain. But just a snap view of what we've been able to learn is that there were people who were being forgiven, because abandonment is being forgiven, including principal tax. Someone had some institutions have deducted pay as you earn from employees. They do not remit, and they just given a chance to abandon. Some of these decisions for abandonment were challenged by the Attorney General. The Attorney General said, no, you cannot abandon these taxes. But KRA again said we should collect these taxes, but Treasury actually went ahead and approved the abandonment. So we have one side of government trying, in terms of Kenya Revenue Authority, trying to raise revenue, and we have the other arm of government, the Executive Treasury, who really need this revenue so that we can pay all the pending bills and do development, that actually approved this abandonment. But at this juncture, we do not want to give much for it, because we said we cannot continue with that convention until we have the full information. So once we have the full information, we certainly will be making it public, because we said we want to be a government and we want to be a parliament that is accountable to Kenyans. We are elected by Kenyans, we represent them, we are paid by Kenyans, and so the deliberations that we do and the findings that we make is actually supposed to be consumed by the public. The specific information we asked about abandonments, about waivers, and about exemptions that were given, we were not able to get that information today. And we have said we have given you up to 20th of March to service that information to public, so that it can be to Parliament, so that we can table that report to Parliament, so that that can be subject to public scrutiny, and we can know who are these demigods who are being granted abandonments and waivers and exemptions just like that. And just how painful this is. We have had some people, especially young people, who have missed out on employment opportunities because we were not able to get a certificate of tax compliance, because they probably registered for VAT and they are not VATable, and KRA did not give a waiver. And then you hear people are just getting waivers of billions of shillings, not even just waivers, even abandonments. And these abandonments are taxes that these people had collected. We're not even saying it is from your pocket. It is taxes that you collected on behalf of KRA. Because when you pay, you're just collecting as an agent. Excise duty, you're collecting as an agent. VAT, you're collecting as an agent, because stamp duty, you're collecting as an agent, because the consumer has already paid. So your role is just to remit. So we're not talking about even waivers on interest or penalties. No, we're talking about these taxes that Kenyans paid. But instead of these institutions and these companies use remitting that money to KRA, they use it for their own things, and Treasury decided that they can be abandoned. This impunity really has to end.
Katika miaka 2 iliyopita na haswa mwaka uliopita, serikali kipitia Wizara ya Fedha iliweza kuidhinisha ile ushuru ambayo ingekuwa tajika kulipwa na baadhi ya idara kama ile ya tumeambiwa kama ile ya maendeleo ya wanawake walikuwa wanahitajika kulipa zaidi ya bilioni 13, lakini kwa ajili ya mambo ambayo bado tunataka kuelewa, London Distillers, Kenya Breweries waliweza kusamewa na kuondolewa. Wengi waliondolewa ushuru, na wajua mambo kama ile ushuru ya wafanyikazi kama PE, hiyo ni agency. Hatujajua ni sababu gani Wizara ya Fedha iliidhinisha wao kuondolewa kwa hiyo ushuru, ili hali ilikuwa ni jukumu yao kukusanya hizo pesa kupitia wafanyikazi kwa mshahara na kuipeana kwa walipa ushuru ama kwa KRA. Hiyo ni maswali mingi ambayo tunataka kujua. Ni kwa sababu gani ministry ya ICT waliweza kuondolewa kulipa ushuru, ili hali haikuwa ni ushuru ambao wao wenyewe walikuwa nalipa. It was an agency taxes na walikuwa nafaa kulipa. Kuna contract ambao KRA walienda na kampuni ya Ulaya waweze kuwa supply na zile excise duty stamps. Ukiweza kunywa maji utaona ile chupa ya maji kuna stamp imewekwa mahali pale. Hiyo stamp ilikuwa ni kulipisha ushuru kwa wale consumers. Wakilipa ile maji zaidi hapo shilingi 3 shilingi 4 wanalipia ushuru. Lakini wale ambao wana supply hiyo waliweza kwenda kwa contract kandarasi kupitia kwanza makosa karibu 3. Ya kwanza wali negotiate kwa foreign currency ambayo ni euro. With that volatility tayari imeumiza nchi ya Kenya. Kwa kuwa ile ushuru tunaopata na ile inalipwa ni tofauti kubwa sana, tunalipa kwa hasara, kumaanisha Wakenya wanailipia ile excise duty. Jambo ambalo limetukera sana ni zile exemptions ambayo Wizara ya Fedha, ambayo ni wizara simamizi ya ukusanyaji wa ushuru ya nje ya Kenya, ile wanaita financing the budget, wao ndio wameenda kinyume ya jukumu yao na kupeana exemptions, abandonment, ili hata wakati KRA wameweza kukulalamika, lakini umepewa masharti kwamba waweze kuondoa hiyo ushuru. Hiyo ni kumaanisha tunataka kujua is it true tuliposema kwamba hii serikali ilikuwa imeshikilia sana every state department wasifanye kazi yao under state capture. Ini dhihirisho kwamba hiyo ilikuwa inaendelea, na hiyo tumelose zaidi ya bilioni 200 na bado tunaendelea kukumbana nayo.